Hello. I hope you are sitting comfortably. After the historical and social background, we are going to start to see the cultural background of the 19th century. We can say that the most important form of literature during the 19th century is the novel, as poetry was the most important form of literature for the Romantics. What characterizes the production of novels in the 19th century is the fact that they are published serially. They are published in magazines and newspapers. This means that their structure is that each episode has to make the readers buy the magazine or the newspaper, and the end of each episode has to encourage the readers to buy the newspaper in order to read the next episode. This means that, in fact, the novel is quite a commercial type of literature. Nevertheless, the most important novelist of the Victorian age, Charles Dickens, will of course make his novels very interesting for his readers, but also will denounce many, let's say, ugly, many horrible aspects of the Victorian society of those days. Although remember that Dickens was never a revolutionary, okay? He wanted to denounce, to correct, or to help his own society, but he was against any sort of violent revolution. Take your books, page 24, and we are going to start the Victorian novel. Readers and writers. During the Victorian age, for the first time, there was a communion of interests. Quindi durante il periodo vittoriano, per la prima volta, c'era una comunione di interessi and opinions e di opinioni between writers and their readers, tra gli scrittori ed i loro lettori. One reason for this close relationship, una delle ragioni per questa stretta relazione, was the enormous growth, era l'enorme crescita of the middle classes, della classe media. Although its members belonged to many different levels, sebbene i suoi membri appartenessero a molti livelli diversi, where literacy had penetrated, dove l'alfabetismo, dove la cultura era penetrata in a heterogeneous way, in modo eterogeneo, that is to say, in a different way. Remember that the middle class has various levels. Shopkeepers, employees, clerks, okay, belong to the lower middle class. Instead, rich entrepreneurs and industrialists, okay, belong to the upper middle class. They were avid consumers of literature, erano degli avidi consumatori di letteratura. They borrowed books, prendevano in prestito i libri, from circulating libraries, dalle biblioteche itineranti, and read the abundant variety of periodicals, e leggevano la varietà abbondante di periodici e giornali. Moreover, inoltre, Victorian writers themselves, gli scrittori vittoriani stessi, often belonged to the middle class, spesso appartenevano alla classe media. Charles Dickens belonged to the middle class, in fact. The publishing world, il mondo dell'editoria. A great deal, of Victorian literature, una gran parte della letteratura vittoriana, was first published in a serial form. Venne prima pubblicata in forma di episodi o a puntate, se preferite. Essays, i saggi, verse, anche la poesia, and even novels, e persino i romanzi, made their first appearance in installments, fecero la loro prima apparizione a puntate, in installments o a episodi, in the pages of periodicals, nelle pagine dei periodici. This allowed the writer, questo permetteva allo scrittore, to feel, di sentire, he was in constant contact, di essere in contatto costante with his public, con il suo pubblico. He was obliged to maintain the interest, era obbligato a mantenere l'interesse sulla sua storia, gripping, sarebbe l'interesse che incollava il pubblico al libro, gripping, because one boring installment, perché un episodio noioso would cause the public not to buy that periodical any longer. Quindi un episodio noioso avrebbe avuto come conseguenza che il pubblico non avrebbe più comprato quel periodico. There was a further advantage. C'era un altro vantaggio. Because an author could always alter the story. Perché un autore poteva sempre cambiare la storia. According to its success, secondo il suo successo o failure o del suo insuccesso. Reviewers, i critici, also had a strong influence, avevano anche una forte influenza on the reception of literary works, sul ricevimento di queste opere letterarie, and on the shaping of public opinions, e sulla formazione dell'opinione pubblica. The Victorians' interest in prose, l'interesse dei vittoriani per la prosa. The Victorians showed a marked interest in prose. I vittoriani mostrarono un interesse marcato per la prosa. And the greatest literary achievement of the age, e la più grande realizzazione letteraria di questo periodo, is to be found in the novel, è da trovarsi nel romanzo, which soon became the most popular form of literature, che presto divenne la forma più popolare di letteratura. And the main source of entertainment, ed anche la principale fonte di intrattenimento. Think there was no TV, movies didn't exist, so the main form of entertainment was reading. The spread of scientific knowledge, il diffondersi delle conoscenze scientifiche, made the novel realistic and analytical, resero il romanzo realistico ed analitico. The spread of democracy, la diffusione della democrazia, made it social and humanitarian, lo resero sociale e umanitario, with the spirit of moral unrest, while the spirit of moral unrest, mentre lo spirito dell'irrequietezza morale, made it inquisitive and critical, quindi resero il romanzo, diciamo un po' gli diedero un carattere di critica e di inquisizione. Okay, so I'm stopping here for the moment. Anyway, remember the 18th century novel. The definition of the 18th century novel, okay, its main objective was verisimilitude. The definition of the 18th century novel is the story of an ordinary man in a certain place at a certain time. Okay? So it is something very realistic, right? The opposite of romantic poetry and also of the Gothic novel. Right? Okay, that's all for the moment. Bye-bye.